Hi, this is Sarah Young. Welcome to this video on how to tell Google Tag Manager, also known as GTM, to track your visitors. The goal here is to tell Google Tag Manager to do everything that Google Analytics was doing until now. So Google Tag Manager, after we finish this video, is going to track your visitors, see who's coming to your site exactly in the same way as Google Analytics did until this point. So let's go to the workspace, continue from where we left off. And the first thing that we're going to do is set up a variable. I told you that a variable stores information, and we're going to set up a variable that will store your Google Analytics property ID. If you recall from setting up Google Analytics, every website has a property ID, and Google Tag Manager needs to know what it is in order to connect to your Google Analytics. So click on Variables and click on New. Click on this Lego piece and choose Constant Variable. Choosing Constant here. Click on the untitled variable here and call it property ID as follows, with a capital P, capital I, capital D. And there's a reason why I want you to call it exactly this, and that is because future code that I'm going to give you will use this variable. Click on Save, and then you want to enter the value of your property ID from Google Analytics. In order to get the value of your property ID, you go to your Google Analytics dashboard, click on Admin, click on Property Settings, get this tracking ID that starts with a UA and has a bunch of digits and dashes after that. Make sure you paste the whole thing into the value here and then click on Save again. Okay, so now property ID is a variable that has your Google Analytics property ID. The next thing you're going to do is click on Tags. Remember what I said before, that a tag is a piece of code that you want Google Tag Manager to execute, and a trigger is an event that happens on your page. What we're going to do now is set up a tag which tracks page views, and the trigger will be everything. I'll show you in a minute how to do that. We're going to tell Google Tag Manager every time somebody goes to any page, you should track the page view. Here's how you do it. Click on New, click on this tag image, and click on Universal Analytics. This will integrate your Tag Manager with Google Analytics. For tracking ID, click on the plus and select here property ID, which we set already. Track type page view. For triggering, click on this circle over here and select all pages. What this does, you can call this page views. What this does is it makes sure that on all pages, Google tracks the page views. That will send Google Analytics all the information that it's been sending so far if you've been using Google Analytics. Click on Save and click on Publish. Google Tag Manager has something really cool, which is version tracking. What that means is that every time you publish changes that you made to Google Tag Manager, it lets you give a name and description to that version. That way, in the future, if you ever mess things up and you want to come back to a previous version of Google Tag Manager for your site, you can. So what we're going to do is call this version Basic Setup. And anytime in the future, if you make changes to Google Tag Manager, import something that doesn't work, or mess things up in some way and click Publish, you can always go back to this version. This page views version will be the basic version that does what Google Analytics did until now and doesn't add anything fancy. So that's really nice to have. So click on Name and type Basic Setup. For a description, you can write Setup page views. This is just so you can remember it later. Click on Publish again. And it should show you that you have one tag and one variable. What I want you to do right now is make sure that everything is working properly. Since we replaced the Google Analytics code, I just want you to make sure that everything is working exactly as before and that Google Analytics is indeed tracking all your page views. In order to do that, we're going to go back to Google Analytics. And what you want to do is click on real time. I've just got icons here because I made my browser small for the purposes of fitting it into this video, but yours will say real time here. Here we go, real time. I'm going to click on overview, and this shows me in real time who is visiting my site. So what I'm going to do is visit the site and make sure that it is really showing up. If you are filtering your own visits, your own IP address from your analytics, then use another computer or use your cell phone or something to visit your site and make sure that it's being recorded. You can see here one visit. Okay, this is me. Okay, you can see here that I am here on Baby Circuit, that it's getting tracked on Google Analytics. If you have a really busy site that constantly is getting searches, you'll see a lot of visitors here. But if you don't, you just visit yourself and you make sure that it is recorded. That is a test to make sure that you installed the code properly. Okay, so now you've got Google Tag Manager set up to interface between your site and Google Analytics. You're still getting all your usual Google Analytics information. And in the next videos, I'm going to show you how to do all the cool things that I promised. This has been Sarah Young.